Ever wondered how it would feel to live in a cave? Well, Cave Story is the kind of game for you. Although you're not really living in a cave, you're more sort of solving a real problem. Just like in any other generic video game. But yes, this game offers many weapons, and many optional weapons too. So let's go over the normal things that I always talk about, but this time I'm going to begin with the story. The story? I really like the story. I really like how you had to save these Mimigas from the doctor who had this evil crown, and after all it seemed that it wasn't the doctor, after all it was that red crystal. And that red crystal kind of shattered after the fight with the doctor, and that returned to Valos, I guess, and then he got awesome power, and then he would become the final boss. I really like that story. Valos was actually explained in the story. It was actually explained in the story, like in little cutscenes. So matter of other RAM, you can learn from that. No, that's a joke. But yeah, the story I really liked. I also liked how it had different endings, actual different endings. But it had like the neutral ending, where he just went off the island with I forgot the name of the brother, Sue, but. I forgot his name, but apparently you go with this her brother on a dragon off from the island just to save your own hide, and I really like that. I really like how they did that. And then you have the good ending, which you beat the doctor and his assistant. Which, you know, I should have actually checked all the names before I started this video. But now the assistant, we have Balrog, and we have that witch girl. I actually like that. I really love Balrog though. Balrog is probably my favorite character of Cave Story, and probably after that is Curly. Curly is just a nice generic character you have, and that's where Curly comes into the game. Curly is really an interesting character, because you have to keep her alive if you want the best ending, which is defeating Valos and saving the whole Mimiga village. You know, that's kind of like Curly. You need to keep her alive if you want the best ending. You also need to get the booster version 2.0, because at some point in the game, in the labyrinth, Professor Booster just falls down from the sky. Now what you actually have to do right at that moment, if you want the normal good ending, you just go talk to him and get the Booster version 0.8, I think it was, or somewhere around that number. But if you just skip him and jump at the right time to cross the gap later on after you're done with the labyrinth, you get the Booster version 2.0, which is the better version. Because for some reason, I guess it kind of makes sense, because you lose lots of energy when you're talking. But if you go talk with Dr. Booster right at that exact moment that he falls down, he dies. If you do not talk with him, he escapes on himself, and then he's still alive, which is also good, which is probably why it's the best ending also. Like the best ending, you just have to save everyone, and I think you always also have to get all the optional weapons too. With optional weapons, I really like the idea that you have to like a Mr. like that little dude that you can hardly see on the ground in the Mimiga graveyard. I really like all those side quests they put into the game. So I've been kind of running off the story now. Let's go for graphics now. Story, I definitely give it a 2. I definitely give it a 2. It was a great story. I really love how it all picked up together. And notice how I am talking about Cave Story in general. I'm talking about Cave Story Re. So I'm also talking about the updated graphics and the updated music and all. Gameplay is still the same, which gameplay I'm going to go after all the other stuff I'm going to talk about. So yes, graphics. The graphics, the new improved graphics, I like them. They go into much more detail, and you can actually see that the other Mimiga that got kidnapped, and later on you had to fight the brutally form of her. you can actually see that it's a girl with the updated graphics, because in the original game I read sometime that it was actually a girl, and I was like, wait, it's a girl? I was actually shocked that it was a girl. Like, in the Wii version you can actually see it's a girl. I can show that right now because I do not have a desktop or something. I wish I had that, but I only have that in about 2 weeks, so yeah. Real such a good job. The graphics were kind of good up until to one point where I was playing Curly Story, which I'm gonna go into Curly Story after another rant graphics. Which the graphics kind of screwed up, and then all the Mibigas and other NPCs were just big green squares. How the hell that happened, I don't know. I guess it's a bug or something like that. These bugs are generally something that happen, and there are a lot of other bugs in the game. I'm talking about the Europe version right now, not the American version, because the American version has way more problems. The American version of Cave Story was probably the most problematic version of a Cave Story game ever. But I'm going to go in that after the graphics, because they have the same problem with the graphics too, even though European people have less problems with it. So I give the graphics a 0.7. Unusual number, but 0.7, just because of the graphical glitch. Otherwise, it would be the perfect graphic. And now let's go for the gameplay. I'm taking music as the last because that's probably going to be the thing that I'm going to rant about the most if it's not the story related. But yeah, gameplay. The gameplay, it has not been improved or anything from the original. The gameplay was pretty good. The gameplay was awesome in the original Cave Story. Like how you got all those missile expansions, just like in Metroid. It's kind of like a Metroidvania game, even though Metroidvania isn't the right word for it. It's just a Metroid game. You know, Metroidvania, Castlevania kind of ripped off Metroid later on in their span of lifetime. You know, that's at least I see it like that, because Metroid had it way earlier than Castlevania. Castlevania was kind of like again doing that, I think, from the point of the Symphony of the Night or something. I think they started doing the Metroid stuff from that game. But now I'm talking about Castlevania for some reason. But yeah, just kind of a Metroidvania feel. The Cave Story getting more ammo for the rocket launcher, of course. Rocket launcher, you also get upgrades for your weapons. You can level up your weapons, but if you get hit, you might drop a level on your weapons, which I really like that. I really like that. But there is one problem that I have with the gameplay. I had a problem with the game that for some reason, even though I wasn't pushing the right and up button on this controller here. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm serious about this. There's nothing wrong about this controller here. But I had it like this. I wasn't pushing these buttons at all. I wasn't pushing them at all. I wasn't pushing these two buttons at all. But for some reason, my little Cave Story dude just walked to the right against the wall and looked up. So I was like, okay, can I still jump? I could still jump. Can I still shoot? I could still shoot, but it only would shoot upside. It would only shoot upwards. So I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So I reset my Wii and just started the game again. It did it again. I went to the menu and it did it there too. I couldn't go down or anything. It would just go to the uprightmost item for some reason. That's a serious bug there. I don't think there is a patch for that. I don't even think WiiWare games get patches, but apparently they do, because the American version apparently got a patch for the music, which I'm going to talk about later. Yeah, I even put out the plug for my Wii and then put it inside again so it has power again. Turned it on again, I still had the same problem. What I had to do was trash the game and then re-downloaded it again, which took me about a half an hour, then it finally worked. I was about to just finish the game in that day, but no, apparently not. I had to fix it, and at the time I fixed it, I had to do my homework, so that was like, no, you're not gonna finish the game today. Careful, you're not gonna finish it today, friend. No, you're not. And then, let's go talk about Curly Story. Now, before I go to talk about Curly Story, the game actually has different kinds of modes. It has easy mode, normal mode, hard mode. It has just different modes of playing. Once you finish the game, either you have the normal generic ending or the good ending, you unlock Curly Story. Which with Curly Story, you get a bunch of more dialogue inside your game, which I always like reading dialogue in games. I have a friend that just skips it all, and then he asks me like, hey, where do I need to go, Mark? And I'm like, did you read the story? He's like, no, I never read it. Well, and I can help you, you know? It's kind of stupid like that, but yeah, I read the dialogue of games a lot, and I really like it when your character that you're playing with actually responds to things that the NPCs are saying. Like, for instance, take your normal generic guy. It says nothing. It isn't like, oh my god, why did he do that? Or, oh my god, how did that happen? You know? It's Curly Story. You get a whole different character. It actually responds to things. It actually is sad about things. It isn't like an unemotional bag of shit or something like that. No, it isn't. Curly Story actually brings something new to the table, which is your character talks about stuff, which not many games do these days, except for maybe Oblivion or Fallout or something like that. I don't know. But other than those games, games these days don't do that much more. I don't really see why, but apparently they don't do that anymore. Yeah, I really like how they did that. They had they added a bunch of dialogue then actually. And the NPCs actually responded to those reactions too. I really like Curly Story. Curly Story is actually like the more improved version of Cave Story, if not the better version of Cave Story. So yeah, gameplay I give it a 3 because of that stupid glitch that I got. So up until now the game has a 5.7. I think. Yes, it is a 5.7. The game has a 5.7 up until now, so let's go to the music, which the point of 3 is the biggest. So let's go rant about music. Now I'm going to talk about the Cave Story Wii music, not about the original Cave Story music because that was just perfect. I would have given it a 3. But no, I'm gonna talk about the Cave Story Wii music, the remixes. Now I didn't have lots of problems with the remixes at all, except for the You Got an Item remix, which I didn't really like that. I kind of hated it actually. It didn't sound like the original song at all. And on top of that, most of the other remixes were perfectly fine or even better than the original songs. Now America had a big problem with the music. With the music in America, the music got really freaking out. The music really freaked out in America. Later on there was a patch rap that was only like 2 months after it came out, which developers of the game, you want to look in that before you published the game. Like maybe you were going for something Sega did with Sonic 06, but it's not a good idea to take ideas from Sonic 06 and Sega, you know. These days you may take ideas from Sega, but it's not a good idea actually. But yeah, let's go off that rant. Yeah, you might have looked into that before you released the game, which it really sounded awful. I looked up the music for the American version on YouTube, and it just sounded awful. Then after that, I listened to the European version just on my Wii, and it was perfectly fine. It was even awesome. Now the boss with the first fight you have with the core, that remix, that's probably also my favorite song. That's probably also in my top 5 songs of any video game, if not my number 1. But yeah, that remix, I love that remix. That remix was awesome. I have a couple of remixes on my computer actually, but yeah. But that remix was just awesome. So yeah, I give the music, sorry to do this to music, but I give it a 2 out of 3. It just really wasn't, it just really didn't do it for me. But in general, KAZUMA got a good number for me, a 7.7. Now that's a good number. That's actually a good note. Sonic 06 would have gotten like a 1 or something, but it's a good note, and I'm very proud of the remake. I really like it. So yeah, graphics 0.7, story definitely a 2, gameplay because of a stupid bug or glitch a 3, music. Well, I'm talking about KAZUMA in general, not only the European version, so a 2, because I didn't really like the You Got an Item thing. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about, and see you guys next review.